What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,600 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very, very much. And it's a little gloomy down here in Georgia. We're having some rainstorms, it's springtime, but it's also Mental Health Awareness Month, all right? So making sure that everyone is taking care of their mental health. I've got with me authoress herself, the wonderful Ruth Poniarski. Hey, Ruth.
Hey, hello.
How are you today, Ruth?
Good, I'm good. Thank you for having me on your program.
Thank you. So, Ruth, what part of the world are you at today?
What was that?
Where are you today? What city?
I'm in Long Island, New York, Westbury.
Ooh, beautiful Long Island. I got family out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Ruth. So I read up on your story and I was like, wow, this is an incredible story. But also I'd imagine that it's definitely a heavy story to retell to readers all around the world. So to start things off, talking about Journey of the Self, that is your new memoir that's out, I want to talk about what was the inspiration behind actually writing this memoir?
Okay, well, it took many years because the story commences in the 70s and 80s, a decade, from 1977 to 1987. And it all began, my mental problems all began when I was at a college party, and I was given a brownie cake laced with angel dust. And that set me off. I had psychotic episodes every 6 months to a year, very, very intense for a 10-year period.
Oh, goodness.
And I figured, I'd share that with the world on how I coped and how I kept going. I never gave up for a search for normalcy in my life.
Right.
And it also depicts finding the right doctor and the right medication is a process. And most people do not realize that.
Yeah.
To find the right doctor, and it took me 7 years to find the right doctor, and with the wrong doctor, a lot of really serious episodes occurred, and a pattern of psychosis evolved, which the first doctor never realized. He never took that into account, and I was a very high-risk patient.
Yeah.
And it took a devastating accident in 1984 until I came upon the right psychiatrist. Not the right medicine yet, but the right psychiatrist. And that set another optimistic, and I was able to really heal with this right doctor, this right therapist.
Yeah.
And medication, it took around 20 years to find the right medication.
Wow.
I will tell you, in the 70s and 80s, there was not a lot of medication at that time.
Right.
It took a lot of medicines, very sophisticated medicines, started developing in the 90s and the 2000s. And at that point, I found a medication that I was able to cope and able to heal with, and that really was a great thing to find. And then it took me another several years to find the right dosage of the medicine.
Right.
That's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured that was the inspiration. I wanted to share, not only is it an entertaining novel, a memoir, it's you never know what's going to happen around the corner. I mean, it's a riveting, on your seat, on the edge of your seat story. But it's also is an account of living with mental illness.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that they do have a problem. They become so used to an existence that's not quality that they don't realize that they do have an issue that they should address, or they don't even know, what is it that I have to address. And there are a lot of families that have family members that they're going through an illness, and they don't see the light out of the tunnel. And so I figured I'd share my story and share my living with mental illness to enlighten people on an entertaining level and also on a medical level.
Right.
Living with mental illness, they could really, find information about how to.
Yeah.
Have I answered your question?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. No, so definitely. I mean, you said something key that I want to touch on, and you said, never give up. Never give up, never stop searching. And the topic that you said, and what you just put out there, was that you continue to search. You continued to look. You didn't just give up and say, well, this is just how life is, whatever. No, you went and you found the right doctor, and then, it took more time to find the right medication and then to find the right dosage. So it's a process.
It's a real process, and people, they don't consciously or objectively realize that,
right? Because
they're in the thick of it. They're in the trees. They're in the thick of the forest, and they can't see through it. And that's where my book would reveal the light through the forest.
Yes, definitely.
Not only that, but the book took place in the 70s and 80s, and and at that time, mental illness was not out in the open. They didn't have many medications. The therapies were still novel, even though they've been developed over the centuries with Freud and Jung and Eric Fromm. You had those great doctors that introduced therapy and the personality of an individual. They would, reveal.
Yeah.
But again, though, it's still in the 70s and 80s, it was still a novel situation with families, especially my parents. It was very novel. Nothing to that effect ever. I'll tell you, nothing to that effect ever happened in our family.
Right.
And the first breakdown that I had after ingesting that angel dust, I had immediately a psychotic episode where I got in my car, left the party, drove to the New York State Thruway. This is up north.
Yeah.
And I abandoned my car and walked 12 miles down the New York State Thruway, and then I got a ride back to the college town. I could have perished easily.
Yeah.
That was one of many riveting episodes. I'll only give you the one. I don't want to tell you any more.
Yeah.
But that was the first. That was the premiere. That was the first start of the book with that psychotic episode.
Yeah. So, as time has gone on, and like you said, it's been a journey for you to to really help to find your own wellness in your mental state. At what point would you say that your healing really began?
The healing began actually when I found the right doctor. The healing began.
Okay.
Took many years with the healing and with coping. The psychotic episodes never really went away, but I learned when an onset of a paranoid episode would arrive, and I learned to take my medicine. I learned to objectify and look out for what was going to happen, and to defer it, and to not have it happen. I started learning how to do that. And another very interesting and very important issue with these episodes, I would be manic and I would go without sleep. And a couple of episodes were 7 days and 7 nights without sleep. And that is a very important factor with everyone. Right. A lot of people have insomnia problems. A lot of people. And that could cause a lot of problems, a lot of mental issues, which you're not even aware of.
Right.
But sleep is like so important. I can't tell you how important that was. And over time, with the right medication and just the right mindset, I was able to not have that problem of severe insomnia.
Gotcha. Now, Ruth, if people... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, if people want to get some more information about your story, and of course, if they want to pick up the book, where do they need to go?
They can go to my website. I have a link for Amazon and Barnes & Noble on my site. Let me give you my website. It's very simple. It's www.ruthponiarski, and I'll spell that, RuthPoniarski.com. And on there, there's information on how to get the book. And I'm also an artist. There are a portfolio of paintings on the site and a poem with a painting. And, Oh, that's another thing that I originally studied architecture in the 70s and 80s. And then it was very, very difficult because it was a male-dominated field, and you had to have a passion and be 24 hours just proving because you're a woman. You had to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
And I did not have that passion because of what I went through.
Right.
But in 1988, I started painting, and I changed my career. And the painting really did help. I had a very active imagination, and it kind of like centered me. And I had a structure of creativity, and the paintings, so you could see them on the website. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Ruth, thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. We appreciate you
beyond
words. And everyone needs to definitely check their mental state, because everyone, unless you've been living in a rock or a cave somewhere, you've had some kind of traumatic experience that has absolutely affected your life, and it's affected your mental state. So sometimes it's really good to just check in on yourself and check on your mental health, all right, and make sure that everything is good. And if it's not good, figure out good, positive ways to get there. So
absolutely.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is way better. Until next time, you guys.